I might not have picked this track is, I mean, it's one of the biggest jungle tracks of all time. I think most of you will have heard it before, and some of you, if you're into drum and bass, might have heard it many times, maybe even too much. It's been overplayed. But I still felt this is what I wanted to play. And so if you've heard this before, and even if you've heard it many times before, I want you to listen with fresh ears in the light of what I've been discussing here, because the rhythm is just perfect. It's just beautiful. And it is that 7 seconds drum solo. So this is Super Sharpshooter by DJ Zinc, which, yeah, I'm sure many of you know. I didn't put in the same list. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I did want to let it play a little bit more. Just showing what you can do with a 7-second sample.
Super Sharpshooter, shoot it.
And I hope everyone is going to, maybe say a little prayer for Gregory Coleman, because 1969 he played a drum solo, and it's still getting crowds jumping today. And it's not like trance and techno. So it's just nothing like this. Apologies for the profanity. I mean, it's part of the culture. I'm going to fade it out. What's that? I didn't bring my turntables. Okay, so I hope that's given you an idea of what it is, why I love it so much, and maybe justified my assertion that it's really the most diverse rhythms that you can find in electronic dance music. And I'll write up on the board, and I'll also post in the chat my my SoundClouds, because if any of you are interested to hear more, I've got an hour-long mix of old school jungle, all the different random chaotic rhythms from the early days. I've got the 90s stepper stuff, I've got jump up, I've got the dark stuff from the early noughties. Yeah, there's a lot of different things to discover there. So, thank you all. Great stuff. So, questions? Any additional questions? Yes.
So the shooter one that you've just done,
yes.
You said something about mix something in.
Yes.
So you would take that and you'd add other music.
Yeah, so you're layering different tracks on top of each other,
Because
beat matching them.
With that one on its own all the time.
Right. So, yeah. So
Yeah, and I've always liked dancing to a bit of trance and techno, but that one I just thought, well, I've lost it.
Yeah, no, indeed.
So
So
the chaotic one just goes a bit past me at times.
yeah, no. So the mix that I told you about, the Old Dog New Tricks, which that includes a whole lot of stuff with kind of chaotic Amen style kind of rolling beats, but then it also has other styles mixed in, so it ebbs and flows.
And you would play this at a nightclub, and you were doing all that, which is
Yeah, yeah,
which I'm a bit older for that one,
Yeah.
but I can lift them up. But when you're very loud, it becomes more trance-like as well. That to sort of move to it, or
you listen to the bass, don't
You
the
just-
bass
Yeah.
really rumbles.
and
Yeah.
you just
crank
stand
your
there
way up.
feeling
Yeah.
it more than anything. Yeah.
So in respect of people's eardrums, I haven't turned up the bass too much here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and there's much lighter stuff as well. There's kind of jazzy drum and bass, and Ronnie Size and Represent, minimalist stuff. I mean, there's a huge range of styles. And maybe if people convince me, then I'll come and talk about some of the other styles, because it's not all like that. But that's where it started. It's still very special for me, and I still think there's just something really special about it. Yes, you wouldn't play this kind of thing all the time, but
I find it very interesting, the terms, because I've never really understood what house is, but now I know I like it anyway.
yeah.
But I didn't really know what house was, but I don't know what garage is.
Garage. I thought about talking about garage, and I have some maybe controversial opinions about garage, but so garage is, I would assert, and many people would disagree with me, a subgenre of house. That's not to say culturally, I mean, it comes from a different place. It's house music came from Chicago, and garage came originally from Detroit. But rhythmically it is. It's got an alternating kick clap, and it has something else on top, which sounds kind of superficially like a broken beat. So people who know garage, you'll have your kick clap, and you'll have a little right? Which is nice, and I do play it, and I've got a track called the Relentless House Mix, which if you listen to that, there's a whole load of garage tracks in there, and they work. They're nice. It's a nice rhythm. It's not a broken beat, and the reason, even though it sounds a little bit like one, there's a little bit of kind of syncopation in there, but it's not in the bass drum beats. So the bass drum beats are still on your 1 and 3. And so your underlying rhythm is still just kick, clap, but then with some hi-hats over the top, which are nice, right? So, but I would class them as incidental beats. But yeah, maybe you should get in a garage DJ to come and disagree with me on that. It's not really my thing. But yeah, so garage is an important type of music and everything, and it's something I could have included in here, but I've kind of swept that up in house music.
If we wanted to really sort of get into this and find out about it, is there anything you'd recommend? Sort of any documentaries or podcasts or books?
Got to go to a gig, Mark.
Yeah. Just go and party. So I'm only kind of getting into this thing of documentaries myself. Recently, Damitar and Brian and I were watching a documentary called Everybody in the Place, which is about the cultural history of dance music in the US and the UK, which is really interesting. But it's not really about drum and bass, but of course it's still about all of this. It all kind of comes from that place of evolution of technology and culture. The cultural bit, which I didn't really get into too much, was partly just a rebellion against the music that was being played and the culture that it came from. This was people, I think, who was it? You were talking about kind of the rebellion of punk against disco. So this was somehow like that as well. This was the rebellion of early 90s kids against new wave and whatever. So I thought about talking more about the cultural history, but I would highly recommend that for that we just do a screening of Everybody in the Place, because it's really good. And in terms of the technical stuff, no, I honestly don't know. I've not heard too many people talk about this, but I'm sure there are good documentaries out there.
I've
like it's coming. It's much more popular again. So I was at the junction the other day, and when I came out, which was about 11:30, 12, there was a massive queue, and I couldn't believe it was drum and bass. I thought it just.
It's been going on for a long time in the junction. There's nights called Warning. Warning is actually an old jungle track, a very famous old jungle track, and it became an organisation that set up drum and bass nights. And they've been going for